Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to the Mind Assignment. A couple of things here. Next Friday, Friday the 13th, which will be March 13th, my sequel to The Softer Side of Texas will be releasing. Dust Traces Never Fade. Now, I'm pretty nervous and yet also very excited about the release of this book. Um, I really don't know how it's going to be received, but I hope that everyone likes it. And I just would really encourage you to please check out my work and support my Substack. Um, Things are difficult, and I think a lot of us are all going through that, but I work diligently every day. And all of these things that I do here, I am not really um, earning anything. It's more just volunteer because I feel compelled to. And as you know, it's my writing and those things that really pay my bills. And it becomes increasingly harder with lots of new challenges in the world, as we all can see happening daily. And so, if you could do your little part to support me and share my art, read my work, um, point my books out to your friends, and even pick them up and review them, then you are helping a single disabled mother. I don't like to give you guys my sob story much because um, I'm not really on here because I want to make a big fuss over myself and my own life. But with today's topic, I feel like it's important that I really stress that I am a matriarch and that I am on my own. I don't have support. I don't get child support for my son. Um, there's just it's all on me, and with my disabilities, my 90% deafness, believe it or not, um, things can be quite difficult. And so all of your support in any way, whether that's a share, whether that's listening to the podcasts around the table with the AOTR, the Mind Assignment like we are here today, or Histories of Horror, all of these things help me and they keep me moving forward. I do have a buy me a coffee and Venmo and Cash App if you feel so inclined. Or just go, buy my works and help me out in that way because I put a lot of time into writing my books and I think that they're pretty good, honestly. So give me a chance and see what I got. Um, but yeah, so we're here at the table today. Kind of feel like we need to talk about words a little bit. We're here to talk about a word that has been flattened by tradition and tucked away into old photo albums: the matriarch. Often we're taught that a matriarch is simply the oldest woman in a family tree, someone who cooks the meals and keeps the peace. But if you look closer, especially through the lens of those navigating disadvantaged dynamics, the matriarch is something much more radical. She is a steward. She is the foundation upon which a community survives when the institutions designed to protect them have failed. To be a matriarch is to understand that leadership isn't about standing at the front of a parade. It's about being the pillar that holds up the roof. It is a position of quiet, fierce authority born from the necessity of survival. In spaces where resources are thin and the margin for error is non existent, the matriarch doesn't just manage a household, she manages an ecosystem of energy, safety, and resilience. So when we talk about this role, we have to talk about the dual nature of her power: the pillar and the gatekeeper. As a pillar, she provides the emotional and physical ground for others to stand on. She is the one who remembers the history, who holds the collective memory of the struggle, and who ensures that the next generation doesn't have to start from zero. But a pillar cannot stand if the ground around it is being eroded. This is where the gatekeeper comes in. A true matriarch knows that her yes is only as powerful as her no. She is the one who decides who is allowed into her inner circle and who will remain at the perimeter. This isn't about being exclusionary for the sake of ego, it is truly about sanctuary. If you are building a movement or a life in a disadvantaged environment, you cannot afford to let every passing traveler into your kitchen. You have to be the one who asks, are you here to build or are you here to feed? This brings us to the front lines, the activist spaces. These are the places where we are most vulnerable because we lead with our hearts and our shared outrage. We want to believe that everyone who shows up for the cause is a comrade, but we must stay vigilant. Activism, by its very nature, can be a magnet for the energy vampire and the narcissist. The energy vampire in a movement is the person who treats the struggle as a stage for their own emotional processing. They don't contribute labor, they consume the labor of others through constant crisis, forced intimacy, and a refusal to respect boundaries. They drain the collective momentum until the we becomes a me. Then there is the narcissist. In activist circles, they often wear the mask of the savior or the martyr. They look and appear to be a good person. They use causes as a shield. If you challenge their behavior, they claim you are attacking the movement itself. They create a savior dynamic where they become indispensable, keeping the community in a state of perpetual dependence. A matriarch sees through that performance. She watches the hands, not just the mouth. She looks for the quiet workers, the ones who show up when the cameras are off, and she remains wary of those whose activism feels more like an audition. Staying vigilant means practicing tactical safety. Usually, when we hear that term, we think of digital encryption or physical protest safety. But tactical safety is also spiritual and emotional. It is a practice of auditing your environment for leaks. Where is your peace being compromised? Who is taking more than they give? In a world that expects women, particularly those from marginalized backgrounds, to be infinitely soft and endlessly available, the matriarchy chooses discernment. She knows that her energy is the limited source, that no is a complete sentence. She understands that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and more importantly, you shouldn't pour into a cracked vessel that will never be full. As we close today with this thought, discernment is not a cold act, it is an act of deep revolutionary love. By guarding the gate, you are protecting the well. You are ensuring that the people who truly need the shelter of your leadership have a place that is safe, sane, and sustainable. The world needs your fire, but it does not have the right to consume you. Stand tall in your authority, keep your eyes on the horizon, and remember, the gate is yours to swing shut whenever necessary.